What's up, guys? Dustin McDangles back here with another video, and this is the San Jose Sharks franchise mode series, guys. As we are here in the playoffs against the Edmonton Oilers, I have a pretty good feeling sort of about this playoff run. I feel like we could possibly get something done here because we really need to, because there are a lot of guys we need to re-sign next year, such as Jake Guentzel, Burakovsky, Polak, a couple other guys we need to re-sign, but gotta try and make a run sort of this year. But let's go ahead, take a quick look here at the Edmonton Oilers and see sort of what we are working up against here in this first round. And man, that first two pair, honestly, their entire lineup is pretty stacked. This guy is quite interesting. I wouldn't mind sort of maybe possibly trading for that guy sort of moving forward in the future, but they are a stacked lineup. That first line with Draisaitl, McDavid, and Yamamoto is a killer first line. Actually, I forgot to look at their defense, but it doesn't really matter because we're in the playoffs now, and it is it's a new season, so everything that happened in the regular season doesn't matter anymore. As we hop into it here with the San Jose Sharks, quick sim of the first, Kane and Larkin on the goals, Draisaitl getting one on Samsonov. Quick sim of the second, we're up 4-1 with Zabriel and Domi scoring goals. Holy smokes, what a crazy period that was. As I want to watch overtime, but at the same time I don't. But let's go ahead, hop into this overtime, and sort of see how we do, because we absolutely fell apart there in the third. Here we are in the overtime period, guys. We absolutely fell apart in the third period. We were up massively, and we just fell apart. We were up 5-1 heading into the third and gave up 4 unanswered goals. That was an absolute collapse there, as there was a big-time opportunity right there for the Oilers. Guentzel with the puck now into the zone. Makes a nice play. Evander Kane finds Chavot, and a puck is on target for the cover. Here we are in the offensive zone. Larkin looking to win that draw here. Looking and ties up. Guentzel gets hooked, but Evander Kane comes through with the pickup and finds that behind. Koskinen, I believe, was their goalie. Big time goal as we take game 1 away from home. 1 up in the series here. We finally win a simulation, guys. Holy smokes. Big time play there as Guentzel was hooked on the play, but that gave Kane some room there as that strong side or net front defenseman was hooking Guentzel. Gives Evander Kane that open space to cut through, bury that in the back of the net, and again, we have the 1-0 series lead here against the Oilers. So after an exciting game number 1, guys, we go into this series 1-0 after a crazy back-and-forth game that was. But here we are, game 2 in Edmonton. Can we make a statement here going up 2-0? Man, oh man, that first game was crazy. First period simulation, nothing going. Shots are pretty even. Man, big second period. Domi, Burakovsky, and Letang getting goals in that period. Can we hold on for a 2-0 series win, or series lead? And we do, as Hertl buries one there, winning the game 4-1, heading home with a 2-0 lead here, guys. The team is playing great. Guentzel, 5 points in 2 games, 5 assists for him. No goals yet, but it's always good walking in sort of through the series, and you have a 2-0 series lead, but this is a big game. Game number 3. Can we make a statement here? Go up 3-1 or 3-0 in the series. Hertl with a goal early. Oh man, they tie it up, so we will go ahead, slow sim the third period here. Shots are pretty even. Power play opportunity, and they bury. Man, that's such a bummer. We want to try and get a goal back as we have a power play now. Can we bury? We cannot. So down 2-1 here in the rest of this period. I'm going to guess that they're going to get an empty net goal here as, they get one before the empty net, also get the empty net, and they win 4-1 in game number 3, taking the series to 2-1. We are up on them. Max Domi leading the team in points, 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points. Hopefully we can take game number 4 here as right now home ice advantage doesn't seem to be doing much, but we need to sort of change our fortune right now, as we are actually down 1-0 here against the Oilers early. We go up 2-1 after the second period with a chance here in the third to bury that game, and Larkin able to put that into the back of the net as we find a 3-1 series lead here, guys. Shavot leads the team in points now with 6 points, all of them being assists, with a chance here to close out this first round against the Oilers away from home in game number 5. Up 3-1 in this series. Can we take this? Oh, man. I don't think we're going to win that game, as we lose 5-2 away from home, unfortunately, as we got to find a way to sort of get our sort of things in gear here and find a way to win this series here in game number 6 at home. Can we find a way to bury our chances? Oh man, we are getting heavily outshot. We're down 3-2. Can we come back? We cannot. We end up losing the game 4-3 as we go to game 7 in the first round once again. Some crazy stuff here. I hope that we can find a way. Tyler Bertuzzi's fully healed. When was he ever out? That's quite interesting. I didn't know Bertuzzi was out. Obviously, he's not in our lineup right now. Man, that's tough. Man, let's hope we can put together a good game 7 here against the Oilers. Quick sim, we're down 2-0. Still down 2-0. And we lose game 7 5-1. What a disappointing season that was, guys. Disappointing playoffs. We were up 3-1, and we end up losing 3 games straight. Oh my goodness, that is heartbreak city. As we are out of the playoffs, I will go ahead and simulate up to the draft and tell you guys sort of who wins the playoffs and show you everything. But man, what a heartbreaker. Here are the draft lottery results, guys. The Rangers, who actually won the Stanley Cup, move up to number 2. That is absolutely insane. Man, we'll go ahead and take a look at these retired players, but that is some crazy stuff, guys. Crosby calls it a career at the age of 36 with 1,618 points. What a career for him. Eric Stahl, Spezza, Williams, Stastny, Oshie, Keith, Brown, Yandel. Some crazy retirees here. Bufflin, James Neal, Simmons, Ladd, Hornquist, Bozak retires for us. Broussard also calls it a day, but a lot of retirees here. Some crazy stuff, but man, what a disappointing playoffs that was for us, as I can give you guys a look here to sort of show you everything. Wow, the following players are now a coach. We've got Bozak as a coach. That's pretty cool. But man, that was super, super disappointing, as we will go ahead take a look here at how the Rangers actually won their cup. I want to know, did the Oilers did at least make it to the conference finals, so it's not like we lost to a sort of pushover opponent. The Rangers' hardest opponent looks like it was the very first round of their playoffs against the Capitals, going to Game 7, but they took care of the Senators 4-1 and the Lightning 4-1, sort of dismantling the Minnesota Wild in the finals 4-2. But let's go ahead and take a look at these awards. Obviously, the Rangers winning the Cup, Ovi winning the Art Ross Trophy and the Hart. What a good year for Ovechkin. Carlson wins the Norris. Pasternak with the Lady Byng. Calder goes to McCormick from the Carolina Hurricanes. Conn Smythe went to Benson. The Vezina goes to Carey Price and the Williams Jennings Trophy. Subban wins the Masterton. Couture wins the Selke Trophy. And Ovechkin with the Ted Lindsay. And Patrick Laine with the Maurice Richard Trophy. So, not a great season for us, but man, we have an opportunity here to possibly draft some good talent here, as we definitely need to. So let's go ahead, hop into this draft, and sort of see what we can do. So we have a big trade offer for the first overall pick to the New Jersey Devils here. Hurdle, our first round pick, and one of our prospects, Bufflin, for their first and sort of a player just to sort of make it work. Can this trade go through for the first overall pick? It does not. Man, I do know sort of the top player is a franchise player, so he would definitely be worth trying to get. I'm definitely okay with trying to give up some prospects here to try and get that first overall pick, and that is denied. Let's try, honestly, it is worth a franchise player to give up two. Let's go with a second round pick here to start. See if that works. That trade is rejected, so let's go ahead, bump that up to our first round pick next year. 2 first rounds for this first round, plus Hurdle and Bufflin. That is a big offer, and they deny that. Wow, that's kind of crazy, guys, that they would sort of reject that offer. Let's see here. Rookie goalies. I don't want to give up Spezza as he is a big-time prospect for us. Running out of time to try and get this top player. Honestly, we're going to have to give up this defenseman. He's a while out. See if this trade offer goes through, and that is rejected for the first overall pick, guys. That is kind of a heartbreaker. Honestly, I want to try this. I know it's kind of crazy to do, but giving up 3 first-round picks is kind of insane. But honestly, I want this pick so bad, guys. First overall, 3 firsts for their first, and they're not going to take it. I mean, that I can understand that. Let's see what the overall of this kid is, as we will sim that pick. 84 overall. That would have been so nasty, guys. That would have been so nice to have. Man, that is such a bummer. But I do sort of want to try and get some sort of salary off of our sort of cap here, as I want to move some players out, as it looks like Evander Kane is sort of dropping. Overall, 84 at $7 million. I want to try and get him out of there. Obviously, their cap space isn't really sort of working for them right now, so we're going to have to try and pick one of their players out. Obviously, give them our first-round pick as well. Let's see who they are willing to sort of give up. Any wingers? Oh, man. They are stacked. The Edmonton Oilers are stacked and ready to go. Man, their salaries aren't looking the best either. Let's see here. Logan Brown, not terrible, but he's a centerman. Man, this is quite interesting to try and unload. Does this guy even fit our team? He doesn't, but I wouldn't be sort of opposed to this, to try and move Kane out and sort of eventually, their cap space isn't going to work. We're going to have to go try someone else. Here's another unloading trade offer, which is really in our favor, so we could possibly try and get another draft pick out of this, which I'm more wanting to try and do for next year to try and load up. Honestly, I feel like we could possibly get another pick out of this. We could try and snipe their third as well to get that there, and we finally get Evander Kane off our block, and we get a sort of higher first-round pick, but that sort of opens the door for a possibility to get sort of a possible better free agent moving forward. Stephen Milroy here, how did he do? Man, he put up some good points. We don't know too much about him, but what about this guy? Avery Terry, 2 years out. Shane Monahan, he didn't put up crazy points. Honestly, I feel like this kid might be a good shout for a defenseman. Nice to get some more defensive prospects into the pool. And was it worth it? 75 overall, top 4 medium potential. That was a really good first-round pick. We could get him right into our AHL team sort of moving forward next year. But let's go ahead and continue to sort of wheel and deal. Pretty much the same offer for Edmonton's first-round pick. We might even be able to get sort of another pick out of them. Maybe even their third round for next year as well. And that first-round pick has gone through, so we have 2 first rounds for next year. So let's try and go ahead and see if we can snipe another first round for next year. So here we have a trade offer for Toronto's next year's first-round pick, which didn't go through. Let's go ahead and try and snipe that, honestly, to try and stack up for next year's draft. And that trade has gone through, couple thirds and a second, and now we have exactly 3. And let me repeat that. We have 3. They might not be high first-round picks next year, but we have 3 first-round picks for next year's draft, guys. Right there, the Oilers, Sharks, and Maple Leafs. 3 first-round picks is pretty crazy to see. Honestly, want to try and snipe maybe a higher first-round pick, so maybe I'll use one of these to sort of go after a lower team and see what we can do. So unable to snipe any more first-round picks as we are going to have to chill at 3. We could draft another defenseman here. Elite potential 5 years out. Let's see here about this guy. He's also 5 years. Let's take a look. Can never go wrong with trying to draft a goalie. But it looks like a lot of these goalies aren't sort of the best and are going to be sort of a project essentially. So let's go ahead, just draft another sort of this player right here. Perfectly fine with drafting another defenseman. Obviously top 6 medium potential. Not terrible. Could obviously use him for sort of trade things down the line. But let's go ahead, get into another pick here. Let's see sort of what elites we could possibly try and snipe here. Alexandre Desjardins could be a possibility here. He is also sort of a project. This guy, not too bad. Center 6'5". Andre Von Arx. Honestly, that is a pretty sick name, and he's not expected to go high. So let's just go ahead, pick up Desjardins there. Bottom 6 potential. That kind of sucks. Let me go ahead and try and snipe that other guy, honestly. I wouldn't be too mad about sort of doing that. Let's go ahead. Is he still there? He is. So let's go ahead, draft here. Von Arx, bottom 6. Thought that would be a nice little sort of go there, but let's go ahead and simulate the rest of the draft since we don't have any more picks. Take a look here. We've got sort of not the greatest of drafts this year, but we really stacked up on draft picks for next year's draft, so pretty excited about that. But let's go ahead and sort of get into the re-signing phase of our players. So taking a look at it here, guys, we have a lot of cap space to work with after getting Evander Kane off the books. And Jake Gensel wants a big payday, but I kind of want to see if he will take sort of a hometown discount with the Sharks here, as we got to go through here and sort of see who else we need to sort of pick up. Niederreiter actually bumped up to an 83 overall, which is kind of crazy to see. I would be honestly okay with sort of re-signing him sort of for a cheaper deal at 2-2 and sort of see if we could eventually maybe possibly trade him. Roman Polak, I do want to try and re-sign. He is a big key of part of our defense. See if he will sort of sign a discount there at $4.65 million. Burakovsky is aging a little bit here. He is 83 overall. Want to see if he will sort of take a cheap deal for 1 year, 2.3 essentially. Sort of going through the rest of our lineup here. McGinn doesn't want to re-sign, and I'd be okay with sort of letting him go. Ferraro wants a really nice deal. I'll give him $1 million. See what he says to that. Dahlin moving up to an 80 overall. Wants a really good deal. I'll even give him a little bit more to see to make sure he does indeed sign. And let's go ahead and advance a day and sort of see what we get out of those. The coach not going to sort of do it, but he accepts. So we get our coaches here. Niederreiter going to reject. Burakovsky rejects. Polak signs. Jake Gensel signs. Sort of the basically half, sort of 500 or $500,000 off, which is awesome to see. So we just need to essentially choose between Burakovsky or Niederreiter here, and I'd rather go for Niederreiter or Burakovsky. He wants 2.6 for 1. Oh, he wants cheaper for 2, so I'd rather go with Niederreiter here at 2.275, and we'll see what he says about that. Before sort of moving on. McGinn, we could try and get him back. He wants sort of a cheap deal, which I'd be okay with, sort of signing him for a year at that price. Sort of depth defenseman here we also need to re-sign as well. So let's go ahead, sort of take care of all these sort of AHL deals, which is perfectly fine. We got a lot of AHL deals that we have to sort of get redone here, it looks like. So let's see what we can sort of do here. give him a little bit more, which is perfectly fine, but let's go ahead and I will sort of get through this and come back to you guys. So Niederreiter going to reject because of the dollar value. We'll try for him one more time. McGinn rejects. Heed signs. Goudreau is going to reject. Gregor signs. Milosh signs. Jaden resigns. Gallant resigns. So that's nice to see there. Most of those HL guys did resign. What does Goudreau really want? Let's give him a little bit more for 2 years. I feel like he might take that offer. And let's go back up to Niederreiter to see if, or not, yeah, Niederreiter to sort of see, because he does want to re-sign. He is a little bit older. He wants 242, 265. He is younger. Let's go ahead and try and get Burakovsky at 2.8 for 1 year. I feel like that would be sort of a good bridge deal for him to possibly sign. McGinn obviously didn't want to re-sign, so let's go ahead and give him a little bit more and see sort of if he'll bite on that. And then I'll go ahead and sort of finish up these AHL contracts as well. So we're going to offer $3 million for Burakovsky. I know it might be a little much of an overpay, but I feel like at 83 overall that would be a sort of good deal for him to try and sign, because we do have some room here in the cap to try and go after another sort of first line right winger. So we will give Brock McGinn sort of 2.125 to try and get a depth sort of player back into the lineup. Goudreau isn't signing that deal and doesn't want to for some reasons. We'll give him $0.925 million and see sort of what he does with that. Hopefully he will get back to us, but looking at sort of the rest of our roster here, we have Samsonov we have to re-sign, and he's going to want a big payday, which is kind of sucks, but we're going to try and get him sort of on a sort of cheaper deal at $7 million for 6 years, 88 overall. I feel like that is a big time low ball for him, which, I mean, yeah, but we want to try and get him sort of in our lineup. Edmund there should be pretty easy to re-sign, but let's go ahead, simulate a day here. Brock McGinn rejecting, Burakovsky rejecting, Goudreau finally signs, and Samsonov actually takes that big time sort of pay cut, which is really nice to see. So we have $9 million to sort of work with here, but I want to try and get one of those guys to re-sign, because there are definitely some key pieces sort of in the bottom of our lineup that we really need to try and get. And at this rate, we might have to go with, I don't want to go with Niederreiter. I want Burakovsky back. And he just doesn't want to bite. Let's see if we give him 2 years at 3.125. I feel like that is a fair offer. And we might have to let McGinn walk, because I don't want to give sort of that much money to sort of depth players. I mean, let's give him 2.25 and see what he says to that. Hopefully he will re-sign. Brock McGinn rejects, and Burakovsky rejects. So I don't think we're going to be able to get those guys back. So we're going to have to release McGinn. And let's try and go after Niederreiter here one last time to try and get him sort of at a cheaper deal at 2.825. See what he says to that, but Burakovsky, we won't be able to get him back. Unfortunately, we'll let him test the free agent market, because we are at free agency right now. Niederreiter is going to resign, which is awesome to see, but we are now in sort of free agency here, with some money to work with to try and get sort of a top first line player here for the winger position. So let's go ahead and take a look at the free agent market and sort of see what we have. Oh my goodness. This is a crazy, whoa, franchise player. That's crazy. We only have $7 million worth of cap space. Oh my goodness, how is this guy on the market right now? He doesn't fit any of our lines. Oh my goodness, that would be absolutely sick to try and snipe him. He's a restricted free agent. Who has him? Wow, we don't have the appropriate draft picks anyways to try and get that franchise player, which kind of sucks, because that would be absolutely sick to try and snipe him. But Sort of looking at it here, it's tough to sort of see who we could possibly get. I mean, Majaparni would be kind of nice to have. Fits forward line 2. That's interesting. Trying to think of who we could possibly try and snipe here. Holtz would be a really nice snipe, actually. He does sort of pan out a little bit. Only fits the bottom 6 lines, which is interesting, but he is a restricted free agent, which kind of sucks. Let's see if we even have this year's first and third round pick. I don't think that's worth it. Man, that's tough. Man, that would have been so nice to have. Just because I don't want to give up sort of one of our sort of top picks, but I feel like that would be a nice player to sort of snipe in there, but I don't think we're going to be able to do it. Let me go ahead and take a look sort of at our contracts and sort of see what we can do here. As much as I don't want to do it, guys, I'm going to go ahead and go after Holtz here. 3 years. We're going to have to give up this year's first and third rounds picks. Wait, this year's first and third round picks. Does that mean all of our first? I don't know if that means all of our firsts or not, so I don't really want to go through with that, which kind of sucks. Tom Wilson could be a nice little shout there. He only fits our bottom 6 forward lines, unfortunately. So it's really tough to sort of decide here on a player to sort of pick up, just because like it's really tough right now. So I honestly want to just sort of take a moment to sort of think about all of this right now before actually going for any free agents. I mean, Hosang would actually be a nice little shout here. He only fits the first line, but let's go for Hosang. He is a little bit younger, 28 years of age. We'll offer him $375 for 3 years. I feel like that would be a really good deal to try and get him in here. And I think we also need a left winger, Joel Fabry, chilling here, and 24. Oh, he's a restricted free agent. What is up with all these restricted free agents? What will we have to give up? We don't even have enough to try and get him. That is such a shame, as there are a ton of restricted free agents we could possibly go after. Let me see here. We don't even have enough for that guy. So it's really tough to sort of navigate this free agency right now, just because it is really hard to try and actually pick up some players. So if we give up $3 million, that would leave us around sort of the 4 mark. And there's not really a lot of good sort of forwards out there sort of at that mark that are unrestricted. I mean, it's just really tough to try and diagnose who we could possibly like get. Like, this kid is also a restricted free agent. This year's third pick. That actually wouldn't be bad. I'd be okay with that. This year's third round pick, I'd be okay with that. So let's go ahead, send that out there. But honestly, we're actually going to wait till the next video to sort of see how the free agency sort of pans out, guys. But if you did enjoy this video, be sure to drop a thumbs up on it if you did like it. And obviously, subscribe to the channel so you aren't missing out on any future content. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. And as always, stay dusty.